Welcome into the Super Awesome Podcast. I'm Dog Slice, and I'm here with Captain Pete
Yo,
and Bread Matthew.
Hey,
if anybody watching this on YouTube or whatever, let us know in the comments if this is how you actually prefer Dog Slice to appear on video.
I'm on vacation.
And
It's
then we'll
either this
do that
or a
every
very
time.
low cut shirt revealing some just how much of a man I really am.
Sure.
we're
Got a
also
hairy chest. Put hair on your chest. Don't have hair on my head. It's a problem.
we're also all three using different backgrounds.
I'm using a filter.
I'm using I'm in space background.
I'm
Well,
black and white.
that'll be fitting for the movie we're doing today. But before we get into that, what have you guys been doing since we last spoke?
I don't know. We're midweek right now, so fucking watch NASCAR. The Indianapolis
yeah.
500.
Hell yeah, brother.
Fucking Kyle Larson won. Some bullshit. It's a little controversial there at the end, but that's about it. Played billiards. Forgot about that. We went to fucking pool hall down there in Macon or up there in Macon, wherever. It's kind of cool. You can smoke in places in Georgia. I'm always like thrown off by that. I'm like, holy shit. You can play pool and smoke cigarettes. Crazy. They're all full size tables, which I haven't played on in a long time. And boy, did I suck.
Believe that.
I've been playing bar tables for fucking ever now.
I hate playing bar tables.
I like bar. Well, I get used to them. Like me and Timmy and shit. We just go to Sure Shots, bar tables. And then I get on a full size table for the first time in years. And I'm like, oh, all of my, I'm just off. Like I'd be just barely missing shots constantly because my aim is just, my trajectory slightly off. It sucks.
Bar tables are definitely not for the avid pool player. They
Eh.
are for drunk people.
I've played some dudes at some hustlers, dude.
Well, what better place to hustle people at pool than at a bar?
Yeah.
Go to a pool hall. That's where the real OGs are.
People still get drunk as fuck at pool halls.
Perhaps. But they don't play on the good tables.
I remember we were at Belmont Billiards and Timmy, I was watching. I don't know why I didn't say anything. He was going back to make a shot, and there's this chick standing right behind him. He almost hit this chick in the face at the pool cue. And she's like, "Get that out of my face." And I was like, whoops. He's like, "Why didn't you say something?" I was like, "I was just watching. I don't know."
Wanted to
Just
see what
letting
would
it happen.
In my head,
Brett,
I'm like, he about to hit her in the face.
Brett, have you been doing anything?
I've had a little birthday party get together at the bowling alley.
Or did you guys not end up going to good old?
Nope, couldn't generate enough people to go to split the hefty cost.
Fair.
What?
And also, it's quite a drive
The golf place.
in the opposite
Golf?
direction that I thought it was.
Top golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just ended up doing something simple. And then yesterday I went out to the movies and I saw a movie called Long Legs starring Nicolas Cage as the bad guy. And it was quite the film. Very different. They love wide shots in this movie. And Nicolas Cage he really goes full Nicolas Cage in certain scenes. And it's great.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
But surprisingly, it was a good movie. A little hard to follow at times, but pretty sure I got the gist of it. Recommend it.
Well, by God. I've just been on vacation, living my best life, swimming in the pool and getting drunk. It's been nice. All right. Well, today we're gonna be doing the 1979 hit.
Daddy Longlegs. Why are they called
What?
Daddy?
Oh, all right. Cut me off. Alien is the movie we're talking about.
In a
Alien.
world where all rules of contamination are completely ignored, meet Ripley, warrant officer for the ship Nostromo, who wears way too small underwear, and Alien, An unknown creature that grows from the size of a cat to a 7-foot NBA center in the matter of a couple of hours. Ripley and crew are on their way back to Earth until their ship picks up a strange transmission in the middle of space. And you guessed it, they have to go investigate something they are not qualified for at all. After a 10-minute landing sequence, the crew member touches an alien egg and gets impregnated by what's inside. Can Ripley and crew handle what is to come, or will they fall at the hands of the alien?
All right. Well, impregnated.
That's
Released.
what they say.
Oh,
They used that term.
did they? Oh, all right.
Well, I don't know. Maybe in one of the Alien movies, they say impregnated inside the fucking host.
That's how they describe it
Yeah,
in the plot synopsis.
It's pretty grossy gross.
yeah.
Sure is.
All right. Alien was released May 25th, 1979, directed by Ridley Scott, written by Dan O'Brien, or O'Bannon, sorry, and Ronald, oh God, what did we say? Shusett.
Something like that.
Shoot it.
Music by Jerry Goldsmith. Produced and distributed by 20th Century Fox, starring Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt, Yaphet Kotto, Ian Holm, Harry Dean Stanton, John Hurt, and Veronica Cartwright. God, my mouth is not working.
Is it Sigourney or Sigourney?
Sigourney. I've always heard Sigourney Weaver. I don't know.
Hmm.
Sigourney Weaver. She's a lady. It had a budget of 11 million and made 184.7 million at the box office.
A lot back in those days.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any interesting fun facts about the movie?
I saw something that their budget was initially like something million. It was even less, and they finagled more money. But yeah, not a very big budget for how cool this movie looks. So much practical stuff, like shit that they built, uh, and that like the eggs and the face hugger. It's made out
Yeah,
of like real fucking animal parts and shit.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it looks awesome, but you talk about gross, gross. The tail is like made out of like goat intestine or some shit.
yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah, and they used like liver for the two sides that were like pulsating on his face.
Yeah.
But
So,
it's just to piggyback off your fact, I think they got uh more of a budget because of the success of movies like Star Wars and stuff. And they
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of faith in sci-fi space movies being a big hit until that happened.
so that is part of it, but I also read that they had once they brought Ridley Scott on to be the director, he made like these very detailed storyboards and he presented it to
Oh
Fox.
yeah.
And just in doing that, like they doubled their budget, yeah, from like 4 million to 8 million. And then yeah, I think when Star Wars came out, they gave him even more money. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
So he worked like 3 weeks on a storyboard alone or some shit.
feel like this is very much kind of similar to the fact of when Viggo Mortensen kicks the helmet in Lord of the Rings, and everybody's like, "Oh, he broke his toe in that scene."
yeah.
But the Kane's chest burst scene was unknown to most of the cast, getting a genuine reaction during filming, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, hold on, let me find that. So yeah, they were aware that a puppet was going to be coming out of the chest prosthetic, but we're not told that there was going to be a bunch of blood and viscera. So when it burst out, it like landed on that Veronica lady Cartwright, and yeah, like she like immediately fell to the ground, not expecting that. So like everybody's
Yeah,
reaction
I
was
saw
very genuine.
she like slipped and fucking fell.
Yeah. Well, it got her right in the, it's like blood and viscera, like it's like gross shit. It just hits her right in the face.
She's probably had some shit hit her in the face before. Let's be real.
Whoa. uh, I had that this was Weaver's first leading role,
Yeah.
like a big picture.
Yeah. Early on in her movie career. She's in a lot of fucking big movies.
She's an Avatar, 1 and 2.
She's in
She's in
Ghostbusters
holes.
and
She's in
Holes.
holes.
All the
But
most of the Alien movies.
So I had that when they were writing the movie, they made like a point to make the crew unisex and that all characters would be interchangeable, which would give Ridley Scott and his crew like the ability to like interpret and cast how they saw fit, which I
Yeah.
thought was a cool idea. And they wanted to make sure that this, though being like set in the future or whatever, it felt like I think I read that they summarized it by saying like truckers in space to make it more believable, make the audience kind of relate to it more instead of having generally of the genre, it's like young teens or whatever in a horror movie. And this, it's like most of the cast is in their 40s, with Sigourney Weaver being, I think she was 28 when they filmed, and then the Veronica Cartwright was 30. Um, and I read that they had given, I guess, each character several pages of backstory, so that way they could improv lines and kind of create some animosity between the actors, not just the characters. I saw there was like some beef that they had with some, I think Sigourney Weaver just in general because she was so inexperienced. So I thought that was kind of cool.
So was it 3 or 4? There's 3 or 4 Jonesies.
Four cats were used as Jones.
4 Jonesies. That is an important fact.
That
Well, there you
cat
had it.
sure is one crazy guy.
Yeah.
I have that Ashes, the android in this movie. His insides were made up of mostly spaghetti noodles, milk, meat, and onion rings.
It's fucking gross.
It's pretty gross.
I had some onion
Um,
rings last night.
And that a lot. The film went through like 3 or 4 different title changes, including
It was like Star Beast or something.
yeah, they started out with Memory was the name, and then they moved on to They Bite, and then they settled on Star Beast initially, but then I think Ridley Scott came in and changed it to Alien. They're like, oh, there's Alien in this movie, so we're just going to call it Alien.
yeah, I think it was because of how many times it was said in the script that they were like, yeah, let's call
Well,
it Alien.
Star Beast, that'd just be kind of dumb. You already have Star Trek, then you have Star Wars, then you're gonna have Star Beast. Too many
Yeah.
star things.
I read that they had a crew of over 200 people to work on the sets, and that the spacesuits that they were using had no ventilation, and nurses had to be on set with oxygen tanks.
Because they'd often pass out
Yeah, I guess
during filming,
there was a heat wave that was going on while they were filming as well, which was not helping.
including Ridley Scott's children,
Hmm.
which they used to film the scenes where they're walking around the big alien guy.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
can't remember what you called him, but they used children in that scene to make him appear even larger. And apparently, his kids also passed out due to heat exhaustion.
yeah. When he was walking around the space jockey, is I think
Space
what they call
jockey,
it.
yeah.
Let's see. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen this movie from 1979. The movie was originally supposed to end after Ripley escapes, but Ridley Scott wanted to add a fourth act, forcing Ripley to face the alien. He wanted it to bite her head off, and uh, and then like send comms using her voice, kind of like Terminatory.
No,
Actually, the alien is supposed to use Captain Dallas's voice
No,
to
was it
send
okay?
comms off. But
Um, but
yeah,
yeah,
glad they
the
didn't do that ending.
producers thought the alien should die in the end, which was much better. But do you think the movie would have ended in a satisfying, like, would you be satisfied with the ending if she just escaped? Like, do you think that fourth act was 100% necessary?
No,
I think it
mean,
adds.
yes.
I think it adds a lot because leading up to that point, like when she sets off the self destruct, or she sets the self destruct, and she's running around, you don't see the alien for like she doesn't have any interaction with the alien for like a good amount of time, and then she gets on there, and it's like this sigh of relief, and then she's wearing the really weird underwear that are like too low and small at the same time.
Yep.
And then she turns around, there's a goddamn alien in there, and she's like, "What? How'd you get in here?" And she has to.
I thought it added to her vulnerability as well, being in her underwear like that. Like, it just has like one extra
I
little
thought it was
wrinkle.
pretty hot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I just don't understand why they chose to make the underwear so
They're
incredibly.
so awkward looking.
They're very odd.
This is the way.
I
I
don't
don't.
know. But interesting fact about that ending, they had to build the set around the actor in the suit to make him fit in like all the tubes and stuff on the side of the wall.
Oh yeah, that's a fun fact. Is that dude is the only thing he's ever acted in. They ran
Hold
into
on,
that
I have
guy
it.
at a pub. He just happened to
Yeah.
be 6'10" and skinny.
Yep. That's all of that's
He's
right.
basically a freak.
I
Most
had him as
scenes of the alien
7'1".
were I had 6'10" as well.
Oh, you had 7'1"? 6'10", whatever, tall as fuck.
Yes.
Most scenes were portrayed by him in the movie, and it's his name is Balaji Badejo, maybe.
Yeah, some African sounding shit.
Yeah, they originally had the Chewbacca actor uh try this role on, but gave it to that guy.
Well, good
Yeah, have
on
you
him.
seen pictures of him? He looks like he's like six. He's obviously super tall, but he looks like he weighs like 160.
Yeah,
He's so skinny.
but it kind of helps create that
Yeah.
I don't know awkward humanoid creature. But let's see. I had that the three decks of the ship were almost all in one build. That's another way for them to kind of give off that claustrophobic vibe. And let's see.
Speaking on the claustrophobic vibe, I read that Ridley Scott purposely pushed in the walls of the set each day just a little bit more and more, just to give that claustrophobic feeling to the
Huh.
cast, which I thought was pretty cool.
So back to the chest explosion scene. I had that Dan O'Bannon credits his experience with Crohn's disease for the chest explosion scene. And also, did we mention that it was done in one take? Did we say that?
No.
I read that that was kind of a myth
No, was
that
it?
it
Okay.
actually wasn't done in one take because they had several problems with
No, the
the mechanics behind the chest burst at
hmm.
first.
Well, then what I was reading is bullshit. I did see that it was ranked 10th on IGN's list of 100 best movie moments of all time.
Yeah, it's the most iconic part of the fucking movie.
Yeah. And then last one I have is Ridley Scott chose to do a slow reveal of the alien, so you never really know exactly what it looks like. He wanted the audience to project their own fear into what the alien could look like. Part of a quote that I read, something paraphrasing, like not what you see, but what you think you saw. And I think that's a really cool.
It's not what you said. It's how you said it.
Carry
All
on.
right, well that's all I got. So Matthew, take it away.
Wait, hold on. I like when the, the alien pops out of his chest and then he goes, "Ah," and then skedaddles off real fast. I don't know why that always makes me laugh.
It looks around real slowly. Anyway, into the plot of the film. We begin on the ship Nostromo, heading to Earth, carrying a seven-member crew and Cat in stasis. Speaking of which, was that Cat in stasis the whole time, or is he just roaming around? Either way, the ship picks up a signal from a nearby moon and reroutes the ship towards it, awakening the crew early. Apparently, it's company policy to investigate any signal that could be intelligent. After a painfully long landing sequence where rock messes everything up, we arrive on the moon. Captain Dallas and crew members Kane and Lambert head out to investigate the origins of the distress signal. They discover what seems to be a crashed alien ship. Inside, they find a large humanoid alien that is called, what did you say it was called?
Look, the space jockey.
The Space Jockey.
Keep forgetting.
They find a large space jockey humanoid alien that's dead with a hole in the middle of its torso, but with its ribs poking out and not inward, and suggesting something popped out of it. We cut back to Ripley, who discovers the message is actually a warning signal. And then we cut back to Kane, who discovers a large chamber with many alien eggs inside. He finds it's best to touch one of these eggs, and wouldn't you know it, a spider like alien creature bursts out and gives his face a nice big ol' hug. Dallas and Lambert carry an unconscious Kane back to the ship and ignore all contamination protocols. Science officer Ash attempts to remove the creature, but discover it has acidic blood and could kill Kane if they proceed any further. After a little time, the face hugger detaches itself and is found dead by the crew. Kane wakes up and he seems perfectly fine. They all have one last meal before going back into stasis and not they decide not to just check Kane out any further and they're like, "Yep, it's over." That is until Kane starts convulsing violently and a small alien creature bursts out of his chest, killing Kane and then escaping into the ship. That's what I got.
All right.
Seems like that alien did a good job to escape that planet it was on. I tell
Mhm.
you what.
Sure did. So I have several questions. Number one, they implied that this crash ship was there for a long time, which it very evidently was. So how long do these what's the lifespan on these eggs exactly? Like, do they just stay in egg form forever until a host comes by, or
I think it's just yeah, just indefinite. They just stay alive because that ship has been crashed for a really long time. Also,
yeah,
I loved. Have you watched like the making of how they made the ship and everything? All those like scale models and everything.
yeah.
Fucking sweet looking. But yeah, I don't know. That's one thing I have with the alien itself is that it's parasitic at first, so it needs a host to be born. So something lays an egg, and then the face crawler jumps on something, and then the alien grows within and comes out, and then it's a big old alien. But like they can't make more aliens. Well, you don't see like the queen until you see until aliens. You know, you see her laying the eggs or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a very inefficient way to, I don't know, like exist.
Yes, not very beneficial.
Yeah, it's like a he has to trap a host, in order to just continue to exist.
Yeah, and Ash is all about appreciating how perfect aliens are and whatnot, and that's a pretty big flaw to have to depend on another host to survive. Essentially,
Yeah, Ash is a douchebag.
he sure is, and he sweats milk.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
For
got it.
Christ. What would you guys' reaction be to finding this huge alien and all these alien eggs? Because this guy's first reaction is to touch it, and I don't think that would be the normal reaction for most.
You wouldn't even
Well,
catch me getting off the ship, like just with how bad it was storming on that planet or whatever. I'd
yeah.
be like,
Well,
I'm waiting for a sunny day.
no, before we even went towards the planet, I'd be like, first off, this isn't our job, which half the crew was saying that. The only people that knew, like, was Ash and the captain because they could talk to Mother, the ship's
I
AI.
don't even think the captain knew.
I I I think he knew because he's the only one that could access like everything with Mother. He's him and the
Yeah, but
science
Mother
officer.
wouldn't answer him when he
Oh,
asked.
well, either way, he probably had some idea that they're not just collecting ore. You know what I mean? Because why does the science officer have like more swing than the captain does? You know what I mean? Science officer's like, well, we have to. That was a distress signal or whatever. We got to check it out. Even though we're basically just miners. We just mine stuff, collect
And
ore.
we find that out later on in the movie, I suppose. I don't want to say it. I don't want to answer it here, I guess.
What?
Why the only he knows about it.
Oh, well, yeah, we can get into that later. But
Yeah. But I mean, would you guys if you're on the crew and you're on the ship, you didn't go out for the little mission they had and they brought back a dude with an alien on his face. Like, would you be
No,
pissed that they just opened the fucking door
yeah,
oh
like
well,
don't
that?
let him
yes.
in.
I ain't letting him in.
I was
Like,
like,
yeah,
let him go.
The thing
Go through the
fucking
protocol.
melted through his helmet
yeah.
or whatever. I'd be like, yeah, fucking keep him out there. It's a fucking alien that just
Yeah.
attached to his face.
I'd maybe like let the other two people in that aren't fucked up, maybe.
Yeah.
But even that feels like you probably shouldn't.
But
But yeah, dude with the thing on his face, no, you can stay out there, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah. But your original question of like, would I be if you found like a crashed spaceship and you saw like a giant alien and shit in there? Yeah, I'd probably want to explore around. But as soon as I saw shit that like when they're looking at the eggs and you see shit moving around inside of
Oh
it,
yeah,
I'd be
I'm
like,
out.
okay, we should probably not fuck with this. But
I
yeah,
wouldn't.
I
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
even. I don't even think I like. I think maybe the initial looking at the dead alien, you see that he's dead. You're like, okay, that's cool. Maybe explore the spaceship, looking for some, advancements that you could steal, some ideas. And but once it's like, all right, let's drop into this. Like, look, the floor's like wet and fucking oozing over here. Let's just scale on down and check it out. No, something
Yeah.
killed this large thing. I'm good. I don't.
Especially after knowing what they used for the goo was KY jelly. Get me out of there.
Jeez,
Also,
jeez.
side note, side question. Do you think it's wise just to smoke a bunch of cigarettes casually on the spaceship?
Yes.
I know you'd say that. I don't think you want to pollute your air with cigarette smoke
They have a fucking
on the
special
spaceship.
advanced filtration
It's in the
system.
yeah, it's in the future, Matthew.
And these are
Those cigarettes are cleaner than your stupid vape.
yeah,
You're
those
probably right.
future cigarettes are actually good for you.
Necessary for space travel. You stupid.
Well, I'll be damned. I guess I'll dive into the second portion of the plot.
So what this movie takes place in like what 2037?
I actually didn't see that, so I don't know.
I think it takes place in 2037, which I think is funny because even back then they're like, "Oh, we'll be flying through space in the 2030s." It's like we're not even fucking close to anything that they thought.
Well, I could argue that the ISS is kind of close to what they have there. They're not like mining anything, but I don't know. It's a pretty large human achievement.
I mean, it's cool, but it's
Not
still
international, or
it's
it's not interstellar or anything.
that ain't shit compared to what they like. They're like, "Oh, in the 2030s." Because they're like way out in space and they're in hypersleep and all this stuff. We're not even close.
And also, a lot of the noises that happen when they do stuff on the ship, it, like makes like dial-up modem
Yeah,
noises to
the
open up
computer
doors.
computer noises are like
And I'm like, I don't know if I would trust this ship very much.
Do you guys see all the I guess in certain elements the similarities between this and the Pandorum episode?
what do you mean?
Just like I feel like they took a lot from this movie, obviously, but for Pandorum, like the just all the claustrophobic scenes.
Well, yeah, I, mean, I feel like a lot of space sci-fi movies have that
If you're
kind of
interested
feel.
in if you're interested in what we're talking about, we did an episode on Pandorum. Go check it out. Super awesome podcast. Matthew, proceed.
They eject Kane's body into space and begin looking for the alien so they can kill it. One of the crew members chases after the cat, getting killed by the now fully grown alien just a couple hours after it was hatched. They agree the alien is using the air ducts to move around. This is when Captain Dallas decides to enter the air ducts with a flamethrower in an attempt to corner it. But it corners Dallas instead and kills him. In this very jump scare scene where the alien just like pops his hands out and goes, "Wah!"
Yeah.
It's like it's a cool scene, but a little goofy. Lambert wants to abandon the ship. And fun fact about Lambert, that actress actually won a supporting actress award for her role in this movie, and I was trying to figure out why, because she doesn't really do too much.
Yeah, she doesn't really say much.
I was also wondering that.
She
Must
just
be
is
a
scared.
slow year for supporting actresses.
Hmm.
But they can't leave because the escape pod can't support four people. So they carry on with the plan to flush the alien out using Mother, uh, which is essentially their version of Google because they just ask her questions all the
Or
time,
Alexa.
or Alexa. Ripley discovers that the company they work for secretly has a plan to capture this alien and bring it back and mentions that the crew is expendable in this effort. She confronts Science Officer Ash about this, and he tries to kill her. by shoving magazines down her throat.
I thought that was so. I'm like, why is that? Because he's like super strong. He could have just strangled her, but he's like, I'm gonna fucking
Yeah.
put a
He,
Time magazine in your mouth.
he stops to think about ways to kill her and goes all in on rolling up a magazine and shoving it down her throat.
Fucking Bilbo Baggins, fucking motherfucker.
He does look like him. That's a good point.
That's because it is him.
Is it him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. The more you know. Super awesome podcast facts.
You know what's scarier than this whole movie is when Bilbo goes.
Yeah, true. That fucked me up as a kid. Damn it.
The Zoom cut that out, but that was great.
Oh yeah, for us.
The remaining crew members save her and bash his head in, revealing that Ash was an android all along. They reactivate Ash, who confirms the company's plan to them, stating the alien creature is a perfect being and even kind of admires it a little bit, and mentions that it's unkillable, then proceeds to mock their chances at survival. They shut him back down and burn him to a crisp.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was trying to think what makes him just like start sweating milk and just like being all
'Cause
crazy.
They got into a little scuffle. He hit his head or something, so he starts bleeding.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
I missed it
Functioning a
then.
little. Yeah.
I did think it's funny when the black dude hits him with that like fire extinguisher and his head just kind of goes, oh fuck. His head just goes like completely sideways. I don't know why that made me laugh.
I think I read, I didn't write it down, so forgive me. But I read that they showed that scene to like, can't remember if it was like a test audience or something, but somebody watching it like fainted from how brutal that scene was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
I'd say like the innards of the android are grosser looking than the alien stuff. Or like
Yeah.
like debatable, like arguably. It's just like milk and like spaghetti looking shit.
Yeah, it's pretty gross looking. But I wanted to mention that when they have his head bashed off and he's just like flailing around, spinning around against the wall a bunch, they actually have a 3'6" actor uh doing that part,
Oh.
which I thought was cool, I guess. But yeah, that's how they film that. See, that's I wish films would do practical effects like movies of old, because it
They-
just works so much better.
No, that it looks awesome too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you do practical effects, a movie like this from 1979 will still look good today. There's some stuff that's like, you know, you could probably make a look a little bit better with little enhancement here or there. But if you're using primarily practical effects, it'll stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Because you watch a movie from like 2001 or something with early shitty CGI or whatever, and then you watch it now and you're like, oh, this fucking looks terrible. This did not hold up.
I don't even think like what we have CGI wise is really good. And I think it looks fucking horrible in comparison to like good practical effects. Obviously, you get some shitty practical effects and they just look silly. But like the way that this was done, they kept it dark to hide some of the flaws from it.
Yeah, use dark, use smoke.
Yeah, like anything, like just it looks so much more believable and scary when you see these real life actors and interacting with this real life thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's infinitely better than CGI. It doesn't matter how good CGI gets. It can't look as good as something that is real, in my opinion, I guess.
I wanted to see how they filmed the chest burst scene a little bit. Wish I did, but like the way the alien looks, it looks like a real alien. Like it even moves kind of like an alien. Like
Yeah, using like
I don't
puppets and
know.
stuff.
It's great.
Yes. So they like had some table thing that they had him on, so the guy with the puppet could just like zoom with it when it took
Yeah.
off.
They had him sit. He was like, I only saw a little bit of it, but he's like, there's a table, and obviously there's a fake torso there, and it only goes down to like halfway through his legs. That's like the torso part, and he's like, I don't know. It was a real nifty way they did it because I didn't really go into how they did it. I just saw some clips of like behind the scenes looking shit, and I was like, oh, probably a really uncomfortable position to be in for a long period of time. for what's his name? Was it Kane
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the actor or whatever?
Actually, just one of my questions was, what did you think of Ash's method of trying to kill Ripley? And I guess we already touched on it a little bit, but I'm just like, why didn't he
So
just like bash her head in? Because he's already super strong. I
I
don't know.
don't know.
was it a dirty mag? I saw some
I don't know. It might have
raunchy
been.
photos over there.
Fucking
At
kills her
first,
with a
before
Playboy.
so I haven't seen this movie in like 20 years. So like I thought so I didn't know that Homeboy was about to be a robot. That kind of caught me off guard. And I thought honestly I thought it was a little silly if I'm absolutely nitpicking, but um I thought he was gonna try to like, do some not good things to her, if you know what I'm saying. I thought he was just about to force himself onto her. And then it was like, oh no, he was just trying to kill her. I only say that because there was like the raunchy photos. I was like, oh, this is just the jerk off station. Like,
Yeah,
he was
he
like locking
also
her in.
he
I don't
also
know. I
kind of
just
like stands over and stares at her for a
yeah,
while.
yeah. He was looking. I was like,
Uh,
okay, what is he about to do? Is this about to
I
be
had
some
a similar thought, but nope.
uh,
He decided to go with the classic method of killing somebody, rolling up a magazine and
Do we
put it in
ever,
their mouth.
when it
get you
comes
just about
to
every time.
Ash, do we ever figure out? Okay, so Mother already knows about this distress signal, and Ash knows about it, and is like, yeah, his main mission is to get to this planet. Like, who informed him about that? You know what I mean? Where did this, these commands come from? Because obviously the crew's expendable. So
So he
the
got
main mission wasn't all this ore. The main mission is this signal on this planet where these potential life forms are at or whatever.
Well, I'm going to assume that he was built to do this.
yeah. So when Ripley or whatever her name is, um, when she was asking the captain if he trusted this guy, the scientist, I already forgot his name. God,
Yeah, because he's new. He's new to the crew, right?
and that's when he says
Yeah.
he got switched right before the mission. So I
2
think he
days.
was designed, yeah, like to because he's like I've worked with this other guy my entire career pretty much, and yeah, like days before this mission, this guy was assigned to us, but we got to do our jobs, and that's his division, and that's his job. They took our jobs.
They took her dibs.
I'm just saying, somebody already had to have known about
Yeah.
the shit on the planet, and they're like, "Well, let's check it out with this work crew that
We'll send them
nobody's gonna
conveniently.
miss them if they're gone."
Yeah, we'll send them conveniently near the planet we're getting the distress signal from, and send them over there. And
Yeah.
yeah, they're just truckers of space, right? So who gives a shit?
And also, okay, if you have a distress signal, why is it protocol to go check out the distress to potentially help somebody who's having a hard time? I'm like,
Especially
you're a crew of 7. Your spaceship doesn't even have like the right amount of escape pods. So what, like, can your ship even accommodate other people? Like, let's say you get there and there's like a crash. There's like, oh, our ship is broke down and there's like 20 people. They can't get on this ship because this ship can barely hold 7. So like, what are they even going to do? Like when they get down there to try to help, all they can do is go, "Hey, those people are in bad shape. Let's get out of here." Like they can't do anything. Like I feel like protocol should just be to report that to someone else that there's an issue over here, and people with the proper equipment can come check it out instead of a fucking like freighter ship.
Yeah, completely not qualified at all to do what they wanted them to do.
yeah, it seems like if you'd want
It's
to
like if
send,
you if you
like
were
if you'd
driving
want, yeah,
you were driving your semi truck down the road and there was a house on fire and you just run into the house. You're not a firefighter. I mean, it's brave of you, but it's kind of stupid.
well, they're like kind of instructed to. So that'd be like your
I know, but it's like if that was the
semi.
rules. If you're a
I'm
trucker,
just saying, like your whatever company you're driving your truck for calls you and says, "Hey, we need you to go put out that fire." Like,
no, that's what I'm
it's
saying.
like what? What? Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not on their own free will. They're like it's mandatory. It's part
Yeah,
of the
it's like
job.
it's
You
only
see any
when they
fires, you got to run in.
it's only when they hold their share of the loot above their head do they
Like if you're
reluctantly go and do this?
driving FedEx, all right, scan packages, get signatures, perform CPR, get back to the terminal.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Why is that part of my job? It's like when they're talking about fucking uh human trafficking shit all the time at work. Where if you're okay, anybody out there, if you're like a FedEx driver, like every year there's a whole week where they're like, watch out for human trafficking. If you see something, you say something. It's like, what the fuck do you expect me to do? I'm delivering boxes. I'm not saving lives. This is stupid. If I see somebody get fucking thrown in a van and they drive off, I'm just gonna be like, oh shit. I'm not gonna like chase after him or some shit.
Well, I would hope you would call the proper authorities.
Put him in a pit.
I'd probably mind my own business.
Put him in a pit.
Mind your own business. If you saw somebody get kidnapped, I'd hope not.
Hey, I maybe that's just maybe they're in a hurry.
Right.
Yikes.
All right.
That's
They were
Captain
late for
Pete.
school.
He's one crazy guy.
It sure is. Um, so diving into the finale of this movie, and I have a lot of escape words in this one.
Yeah.
Give it my best shot. Remaining crew decide to self-destruct the main ship, the alien along with it. They do the classic separation bit, and the two remaining members not named Ripley get killed by the alien. Ripley starts the self-destruct sequence, but her route to the escape pod is blocked by the alien. She tries to abort the self-destruct, but is unsuccessful. She grabs the cat Jonesy and makes her way to the escape pod once again, narrowly escaping the destruction. And everything's all nice, calm, cool, collected. And as she prepares to put herself and the cat back into stasis, she finds the alien is also on board the escape pod. She hides and then puts on a spacesuit. She flushes out the alien, and as soon as it's about to kill her, she opens the airlock. The alien manages to hang on for a second until Ripley shoots it with a grappling hook gun, pushing it out into space. Ripley records one last log entry, then enters stasis for the trip back to Earth. And fun fact, if you stick around for the end of the credits, you will hear the sound of an alien egg opening. And one of maybe the first after credit Easter eggs, which I thought was cool.
Can we back up a little bit? Because I forgot to mention in the last part. Okay, so when the guy's walking around, they're like looking for the alien, and he finds like a husk, like a skin of the alien on the
Yeah,
ground.
back near the beginning. Yes.
Okay, so when he's in that room, Serena was talking about it. When he's in that room, it's like there's water dripping everywhere, and there's like big machinery and just chains hanging everywhere. Like, what the fuck is that room for? Like, does you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
why is it like raining? What are these big machine things, and why is there chains everywhere? Like, I know it's like it looks cool and it builds like the drama, but it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, they got to show you how large this ship actually is. But also, this brings me to one of my unnecessary long scenes that they decided to incorporate in the movie, where he just stands under the water drops for what seems like at least a minute.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
Yeah.
just letting this water drops in his face. Like, why is this necessary?
I think
I'd
I
want to
saw
know
like the
what the room
original
is.
cut of the film was like a little over 3 hours or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So they
most
cut
movies.
they cut a whole hour off, and I'm like, I didn't even really think about that. Yeah, how did that stay? Or at least like the second part of it, because it seems like he like takes his hat off and he's like, "Oh, this rain feels so good." And he puts his hat back on, and I think he's gonna keep walking, but then he goes, "Oh, but this rain feels so fucking good." I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't know what's going on, but they had some nice ASMR water drop noises going on,
God,
which I
hate
appreciated.
ASMR shit. Oh, fun fact. You know that blue laser thing and the smoke like way in the beginning of the movie where they're like scanning the shit?
Mm-hmm.
Is that in this movie or is that in Aliens? I know I fucking knew I was gonna mix up some like the movies by watching them back to back. But
I
you know,
don't.
it's like the blue laser light thing. It's okay. Either way, that was like a stage piece from like The Who. Like apparently the Who was close by, the band,
Hmm,
and like some of their like special effects stuff that was like from their shit. And that's how
Hmm.
they got the cool blue laser smoke light thing, which I thought was
that's
sweet
cool.
looking.
As far as the part that you just read for, I read that the captain was actually not dead. He was being like
Yeah, there's a
something
deleted
that got
scene.
cut out. He had basically been like stuck to the wall, almost as to be like either food or maybe they're going to breed into him as well. Um, and they had a scene when Ripley's like trying to escape, where she was supposed to basically like find him and be like, "Oh shit," you know. But they cut it because they thought it would take away from the fact that she's desperately trying to get out of there. Which I agree, that was a good thing to cut.
Yeah, the deleted scene. He's all like up in that shit. Like they do this in the second movie, but he's all like, "Kill me, fucking kill me."
Yeah, it's very much like Eight-Legged Freaks. If you guys have ever seen that movie,
They have not.
Well, I was like a kid when I saw that.
it's a giant spider movie.
Yeah,
But yeah, they have the nest underneath where they have all the people stuck to the wall with webs, and they're all like kind of alive, and they're begging for death. So that's what that
yeah,
reminded me of. I'm
I
sure
guess
they
it
got
kind of reminds
inspiration.
me of the Mist a little bit with the
Hmm.
spiders.
yeah. This movie, this movie and the second one especially inspired a lot of themes and shit from the Halo first Halo game, Halo Combat Evolved. There's a lot of
With the flood.
yeah, the flood, the well, this isn't the second movie, but the real hyped up black sergeant guy with the cigar in his mouth. That character is literally ripped out of fucking Aliens and put into that video game.
It works.
Yeah. And the scene with the guy like all kill me. There's one that's in the first Halo game as well.
I think I also read there was another deleted scene where the guy and the girl that died right before Ripley escapes, they're like in eggs or something like that, I believe was a deleted scene that they left out
Hmm.
Hmm.
because you don't really see how they did. Well, actually the one dude gets his skull bashed in by the alien's mouth.
Yeah. The double mouth. I know
Yeah,
that's
well,
complete it's completely unnecessary, but it looks sweet.
yeah, it's a really cool original thing that they have for the alien.
I forget how many moving parts that the head has like a ton of moving parts
It had like
like
over
that.
900 moving parts for the total costume or something.
Yeah, that's nuts.
You know, practical
Well,
effects again, reign supreme.
yeah. Speaking of practical effects, the acid blood, they used some mixture of like real acid and they spilled it on styrofoam. That's how I got the melt through the floor scene,
Mm,
Hmm.
that's
which
cool.
is cool. Another practical effect that looks fucking awesome. Also, when that fucking acid is melting, it melts through like three floors. They're like, we got to get to the like, they're like going down each floor. I'm like, what are you gonna do when you get to the bottom? Like,
Right.
you can't catch the acid. You got an acid proof bucket you're gonna put underneath. I was like, what was the end goal there when they get down to the bottom?
Well, there are acid proof things. I don't know if they had it on the ship. I imagine they could have, but I mean, there's things that, there's containers that can hold acid. For example, Breaking Bad, they use this acid that eats through the bathtub, but then they have the buckets or the barrels they use are acid proof. So maybe they had to, because he was carrying this glass tray around. So I don't know. Maybe that was supposed to be like a drip pan of sort. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
But
sure, but I didn't know what was the plan. It just melted through the fucking whole floor of a spaceship, like nothing.
yep,
One question before we get into our ratings. How do you how would you deal with the alien?
exactly the question that I had. How would you have handled things differently?
They only have flamethrowers. That's like really the only thing you could do.
I feel like they had plenty of times to completely separate themselves in different parts of the ship. So I don't know. I guess I just would have held up in a room that had food and water or something, or just barricaded myself in, and maybe even went back into stasis and left a log entry for whoever found us that there's an
Uh,
alien aboard or something. I
Kind of
don't know.
like fucking Dead Space or something.
Yeah.
Just
Um,
let somebody else find it.
like you're not equipped to
I guess
to
someone
do, to
else's
do the
job.
mission they had you do, and also to handle the alien.
Yeah. I was thinking again with Pandorum, I was like in that movie he locks himself in and like breaks the door so that he doesn't have to deal with everything outside. I'm like, I feel like I'd probably just do the exact same thing he did.
I would take that motherfucker on 1v1.
Oh shit!
Beat his fucking
Beat
break
his
his
ass,
neck.
and that's the bottom
I
line.
ain't scared of no damn alien.
Well, also, if they take this alien out, they're gonna likely burn a hole through their hole. But so you got to take that into account as well, because that kind
Well,
of
no,
sucks.
if you just break its neck.
It's true. You could just break its neck, but also it'll decompose over time and eventually.
Well, that's when you roll its dead body over
After
to
you,
the
yeah,
thing, and then yeah, just open them up,
Eject
and
it.
let them
Yep.
float in
yeah,
space. Easy.
break his neck, airlock, problem solved.
Bang. Done it. Next.
That's it. There's no sequel. It's over.
That is the most dangerous part about the aliens, though. It's like
You
they're
can't
really
use.
big, they're really fast, they're really strong. They got like metal teeth and claws and shit, and the sharp like razor stabby tail. And then if you shoot them, they got acid blood flying all over the place. It's like you're just like, what are you supposed to do? You can't fucking
Yeah, I feel like
like
most
if
creatures,
you
you cut their head off, and you got it. But with them, it's like
yeah, even if you
you can't
hurt
do
them,
that.
your potential of getting hurt is still really high, unless you're like really far away or something.
If only they had some sort of natural predator out there to take
Oh,
care of them.
next week on the Super Awesome Podcast.
Well, our hopes is to hopefully do Alien Romulus, and this is in preparation for that. Hopefully, if
Eventually,
we're
I do want
but
to do Predator.
I want to do Predator as well. Now that we've done this movie, gotta do Predator.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, I
in.
saw something. Bill Paxton is the only actor to have died on screen from a Terminator, Predator, and an Alien.
Well, I'll be
What a
screaming.
badass!
He's in all of them. I guess he kind of he's killed in all of them.
It's like the Sean Bean of
I was just about to say that. A real
horror
Sean
movies.
Bean type. Well, y'all want to get into your ratings?
Super awesome ratings.
I'll go first this
How about
time.
it?
All right. So I haven't seen this movie in quite a while, but I'm always been a huge fan. I think in more ways than one. I think the atmosphere of the movie was great.
You could say that.
I think the atmosphere of this movie was fantastic and somewhat claustrophobic at times. It does a great job of building suspense and used what little on-screen time the alien has to great effect. And to mention the on-screen time of the alien, it only had 4 minutes of screen time, but they used it brilliantly, unlike most Godzilla movies. I think it takes a little too long to get going at the beginning of the movie. The first half hour, 45 minutes is a little slow. I know it builds up suspense and whatnot, but the landing sequence, man, that was a good 7 to 10 minute long scene that just did not need to be that long. Um, so I had that some scenes are stretched out unnecessarily long. And then I even mentioned the water drip on his face again. But otherwise, the last hour of this movie is great and has one of the most iconic scenes in all of horror, making use of one of the many great practical effects in the film. I believe that Alien 2 is slightly better film, personally. However, this film is the one that sets the bar. I give this movie a 8.7 super awesome out of 10.
8.7. I thought you'd give this a higher rating. You always
I
talk. You're
just have
like,
to
this
knock
was
it for that first hour.
my
Otherwise, it'd
favorite
be a
movie.
9 or higher.
All right, who's next?
I'll go.
Super awesomes.
Super awesome ratings. Super awesome podcast. Practical effects. Bring them back. What they were able to create with a fairly low budget is kind of insane to me. I love the idea to not show the alien. I like that building your own fear. Let's see. All you really see is just how large and slimy he is. I thought the score. I don't know. We talked about the score at all. Score is awesome.
Score's great.
Yeah.
Like when I noticed the score, you're crushing it. I thought the casting was done really well. And I actually thought this movie was like scary. I haven't seen it in like 20 years. I'm watching it in the daylight and I'm over here jumping at scenes like, oh, fuck. Like the suspense, the build up, they absolutely nail it. And I think this movie transcends time.
And love.
Yes. uh, I give it a 9.1 out of 10. Super awesome. I thought it was fantastic.
9.1. That's higher than no, that seems about right. For what I thought you would rate it. Matthew rated lower, you rated right around where I thought.
Well, then what are you going to do?
One. I give it a 0.
Like, what the
No,
fuck?
super awesomes for the super awesome rating for fucking Alien. This movie's super awesome. I will say, I will agree, Matthew, that
Heard it here first.
like the landing scene, like it's pretty fucking long. But
Yeah.
I think it's because of the 2001: A Space Odyssey. I think it's like that's kind of like the feel they're going for. It's kind of like that, long drug out. It's like it's to build suspense, I think anyway. Uh, but all the practical effects are fucking awesome. The attention to detail is pretty crazy. Like it's real spot on. Like there's nothing they really did wrong in the movie. And I think just the amount of creativity used to make this movie look, pretty much, I wouldn't say timeless, but uh, it's just always like you can turn this movie on. You can compare this movie with any modern movie, and it's like, yeah, this movie's better in a lot of ways. Um, I think the acting was pretty good, even though Sigourney Weaver's like a no name at this point, and I don't, like any of the other actors in the movie, I don't know, they're not in a lot except for Bilbo. But I still think the acting was good. Um, yeah, overall, just as a whole, this movie is super awesome. I'd give it a fucking 9, solid 9 all the way around.
So it seems we're all in the same ballpark in terms of rating, which
Yeah,
I would say it's certified super awesome.
yeah. Like if you like space and horror, this is like the perfect blend.
Oh yeah, I grew up watching this movie. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
They
if
do
you
it
watch
very
this
well.
movie, if you were like 6 and for some reason could watch this movie by yourself, you'd be fucking having nightmares like crazy. You'd be like, ah, the
Yeah,
alien's gonna get me.
a lot of nightmare fuel in this movie.
Well, do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Alien.
Um, I would say that I
Aliens.
finally have settled on boxer briefs.
Oh, good.
That's
Good
all
to
I
hear.
have to say.
Boxer briefs are that's where it's at.
Sure is.
You can't wear regular briefs. That's just gonna go straight up your ass.
Exactly. And
Or like
boxers just a
all up
little too loose.
all up on the sides. It's gonna be just up in there.
I like a good whitey teddy or teddy whitey, whatever you're.
Just briefs.
I need something to really hug what's going on down there.
Yeah. Boxers are too loose. And have you ever had a boxer get all bunched up on one leg?
Oh God, it's the
And it's
worst.
you got one loose boxer leg, and then you got one that's like all bunched up around your
Yeah,
right in between your ball thigh area. And you're
it's
like,
like it's like have wearing a long sleeve shirt and putting a hoodie on over
yeah.
top, and it just rolls your sleeves up all the way.
Yeah, you can't discreetly unroll it either. You have to like people are like, "What are you doing, jerking off in public?" I'm not. It's like, no, my boxer leg situation. Leave me alone. I think there's no good way to fucking fix it.
Gotta go boxers. You'll get a head nod. They'll understand.
Ugh. I fucking G string.
G string. That'll do it. That's gonna end this episode of the Super Awesome Podcast. I didn't bring the wheel with me on vacation. So next week we're gonna do whatever we're
Predator.
gonna do.
Let's just do Predator.
Depending on when this will be released, we might be doing the other Alien movie, but if not, it'll be Predator.
Fucking
How to catch a
Romulus or
predator.
Predator? Probably both. Hopefully.
All right. Well, uh, like, share, subscribe, do all the things, and
Share it to your pals.
we're the Super Awesome Podcast. Bye.
Goodbye.